Hello everyone, this is a follow-up on yesterday's video about LXD privileged containers, where I was trying to get rid of all these nobody no groups, which is a result of the way things are configured in unprivileged mode to make LXD containers safe, right? The idea is to isolate this from everything else, and one of the ways that you do that is by using a user that is not really the same as the user one level above in the host Linux machine. So the goal of this video is for us to get rid of this Ubuntu and add this one, which technically is the same one as over here. And that's privileged, right? That gets rid of these nobody no groups, and by the end of yesterday's video it did not seem like it occurred, but as I often do, I did a full system reboot. I probably only needed to shut down WSL, but in the end it turned out I had done the right thing, and this is really to show it to you. So the first thing is show you the indication as far as LXD itself knows. Now the command is LXC because all LXD commands are LXC, C for command. It's a little bit confusing because there used to be a product called LXC. So we will just go over here, and the place you do that from is a WSL machine. So we can open a PowerShell, and as usual we can list our running instances with WSL --list. And it'll show you our different Linuxes that are running. I run two, one for journaling, which you'll always recognize as this screen one where I journal. That is, in fact, this one here. But this is the host to LXD here, so we want to go into that by going WSL. You can do lowercase d, or you can do, well, there are lowercase in both cases. You can do just D to load the distribution you want, or you can be verbose with the double hyphen distribution. And then it has to be typed exactly the way as you see it here, which is kind of an annoying thing. You can always highlight it and click here if you configured your Windows terminal correctly. Hit enter, and there we are inside of it. Now it automatically dropped me right into my container because of the way that my bash profile is. So I just need to do an exit, and that brings me one level up. And aren't you just exiting up to where you were? Well, no, you'll see backslashes here and the forward slashes here. If I were to exit one more, I'd be all the way out in PowerShell. But from here, it's not what I want to do. I want to paste this command here that shows us the configuration of the Jupyter machine that's hosting. So we paste that in here, and I will have to make the screen a bit smaller to see everything. And we are looking for the word privileged somewhere here, and I'm pretty sure it's there. There it is, security privileged true. It is running in privileged mode. So we can go back into that container and take a look at the permissions now after a full restart. Again, this double click does the same thing as, logging directly into it. You'll always recognizing it by me going directly into a Python virtual env, ubuntu at Jupyter. Jupyter is the name of the container, and CDing into repos and all the appropriate color coding. And if we just do an ls-la there, hey, look, no more of those nobody no groups. So I was successful in yesterday's video. This is a video of redemption. This is in fact working. This user is this user, and we can tell that because these permissions are exactly the reverse. Let me drop that over top the picture here. We don't need that. And now I can go right between yesterday's YouTube video and the new permissions. You can see a little bit of before and after. Before, nobody at no groups, with a few that are Ubuntu because I created them in the context of logged in that unprivileged mode, in that LXD container unprivileged. And so it used different user and group IDs. Here it's the inverse. See, those have these strange numbers. Now I will chown, or more likely to work, I will sudo chown. Now this is the test of whether I'm a privileged container. I'll blow away the privileges, I'll blow away the permissions that were already set here. So chown is change ownership, right? And you use ubuntu : ubuntu. IDs can be used, but I always like to use the name. It gets a little confusing using the name because, you know, the names can be to different user IDs and group IDs across these containers, but it should no longer be now that I'm in privileged mode. So I'm changing AB. That should do it. ls-la. And AB now belongs to ubuntu, right? We'll do that with a couple other directories, auto browse, gpractice, and that should pretty much bring all my repos into compliance. And then we'll look at SSH. Now, as I point out in my journal here, I really am going to confirm that we're in privilege mode. That's done. Go and show you some permissions. That's done. Sudo chown some permissions. That's just about done. And we're setting the stage for really what's going to be the next video, which is managing SSH keys under this context, which is like the whole point, because I want to git clone some repos into this ready-made system in a bottle, into this Noah's Ark of development environments, especially for SEO and data science work that I'm preparing for you. So much better than Docker because you have control over the whole system, right down to pip installs, apt-gets, and having it persistent with less hoops to jump through. All this is possible under Docker, but SSH is really the way to do this kind, not SSH, but LXD is really the way to do this kind of work. And one of the benefits should be using your SSH keys and key management. And it's not when the containers are unprivileged because there's too many extra barriers. So we're elevating the privilege of our LXD container so that we can do some other stuff in the SSH directory that we need to do. So let me just finish this AB auto browse here. So that whole highlighting and clicking should work here just as well. Is there another directory like that? gpractice. I mean, these are probably directories that can go away. Command line completion works. And look at that. All my repos are now belonging to ubuntu. So the other place in question, which was really the most annoying one, is if you cd to ~/ which is home. Remember, ~/ if we print working directory, it shows you your home path, /home/ubuntu, about as shallow as you can be in a directory path as yourself. There's an even shallower thing, which is just /, but that is as root user, because root location, root user, sysadmin, the most privileged super user. Anyway, what we want to do now is ls-la one more time, see if any of these are out of whack. The only thing that's not ubuntu is one directory level up, which is fine. No longer inside this directory, belongs to root, which is totally appropriate. However, when we go into .ssh, you will remember I map this SSH directory, even though it looks like just a normal directory. Honestly, it is being mapped down from my Windows machine, my Windows side machine. If I go out here and I open an Explorer and I go to my home directory, in my home directory I also have a .ssh, and that is this location here. So even all the way down in a container, when I ls here, these files are the same as my Windows files here. Isn't that amazing? Your container files is the same as your Windows files. And ls-la to show you the permissions. Now they have all the right ubuntu permissions. I would be able to git clone just fine. There's one more problem. I would be git cloning as me, and the repos would probably remember that. And it wouldn't work on anyone else's. If I tried to do those git clones under the context of this container, when you run the script, you're not going to have these same keys here. They're mapped in from my host machine. So what I need to do is make some new SSH keys I can give out, ones especially for this project, which I don't care even the private key getting out. And that'll probably be the next video because there's a few fancy tricks in there. I can't just pop it into my Windows directory, my windows.ssh directory, and expect it to sort of trickle out to you guys. I need to copy those keys into location in a follow-up procedure, which I do in those scripts that build the server. The way I copy other things into location, I'll give you a sample of that. And then I might do that work not on video because there's going to be a lot of futzing around. But if I go into my LXD Win repo, LSLLA, show you everything that goes into the project of giving you Linux containers today easily on Windows 10 or 11 is done by these two files, install.bat, install.sh. Install.bat starts the procedure, and then install.sh finishes the procedure. And what I want to show you is probably an install.sh. Let's see. There's various things that get copied into place. Meta something does. Oh, that might even be in the prior file. Let's see. Sometimes I copy things over with different commands. There's curl. I've been trying to get away from curl, but there's a curl command. So I'm copying things into location. Yeah, all of these, I copy all these curl commands here. I copy things into location and change their permissions, and then they're a resource on the new container machine. And I have to do that with newly generated SSH keys using keygen. So that's the next video coming up so that I can clone some stuff into this container. Basically some of my apps off of GitHub, some of my repos off of GitHub for SEO work. And there you have it. This is a big success. I wish I had thought to restart WSL for yesterday's video so I could have shown you that these permissions were actually fixed by yesterday's work. So thanks for joining me. Join me again on the next video as I get the SSH keys working and make this container about 100 times more useful by having it ready for local development work with some repos already dropped in place.